Right people, we are super close to Apple's upcoming Mac event, and here are your final leaks on what to expect. I thought first quickly mention that Apple for the first time ever sending out goodies to influencers a few days before the event. They've given them a pair of AirPods Max, an Apple cap as well as other sweet and spooky snacks because it's Halloween. Anyways, there's one question on my mind, and that is, where's my care package, Tim? I thought we were close, I thought we were best friends forever, but now you've broken my heart. I really wanted those free snacks, and the AirPods Max would be a nice bonus. But anyways, the only thing to note from this, in my opinion, is that this somewhat confirms AirPods Max 2 aren't launching anytime soon. Because why the heck would Apple be sending out a pair of AirPods Maxes to influencers if there was a new version on the way? Then again, I guess you could argue they're trying to shift existing stock, but either way guys, to anyone hoping that Apple could surprise us with AirPods Max 2 at this event, I don't think that's going to be the case. Besides, Mark Gurman, who is a very credible source, seems dead set on the fact we are not getting these till 2024, so if I were to predict, we could see the new Maxes launch during spring alongside new iPads. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. So yes, this upcoming event solely going to be focused on new Macs, and Apple guru Mark Gurman gives us the rundown on what to expect. We're only expecting two new machines at this event, which will be the M3 iMac and the 14-inch, and 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M3 Pro and the M3 Max. These won't have redesigns of course, they're just going to be your basic spec refreshes. But the M3 chips themselves should be exciting because they're gonna be based on the brand spanking new 3nm process. Beginning with the MacBooks, these are internally codenamed J514 and J516. Multiple versions of the M3 Pro have been tested, with the base version including 12 CPU cores with a split of 6 performance and 6 efficiency cores. There will also be 18 GPU cores, and all this is kinda useless without some sort of comparison to M2 Pro, and so if you're wondering about that, we now have 2 more CPU and GPU cores. Moving on to the higher end M3 Pro spec that's in the works, this has a 14-core CPU that has a split of 10 performance, and 4 efficiency cores, and 30 GPU cores. So yes, like they do right now to maximize supply, they will be offering tons of different variants of these chips, especially since the yield rate for 3nm chips is a very poor 55%. Moving on to M3 Max, the highest end version of this could include 16 CPU cores with a split of top performance and 4 efficiency cores, and also 40 GPU cores. Now this will be the first time the Max variant has a high CPU count. Currently M2 Pro and Max have the same CPU core count, and it's the GPU cores that really set them apart, but it makes sense in now offering more CPU cores on the Max, since that's an easy way to upsell consumers to the higher end model, and that's all Timothy cares about at the end of the day. They want you to walk out of the store buying a fully spec'd M3 Max MacBook. Apple also plans to update the RAM configurations for M3 Pro and Max. They will now include 24 gigs and 48 gig options, which means if I were to guess, M3 Pro can now start with 24 gigs of RAM and can be upgraded to 36 gigs, whereas M3 Max starts with 48 gigs of RAM and can be upgraded to 64 gigs and a whopping 96 gigs of RAM. A slight RAM boost is always appreciated. Now just to save himself in case he ends up being wrong, Gurman makes sure to point out that just because Apple's been internally testing these variants doesn't mean these will be the ones that ship, but what he says isn't too outlandish and seems pretty realistic. Also, Gurman does confirm it's pretty likely M3 Pro Max get hardware ray tracing just like the 3nm A17 Pro in the iPhone 15, and this I'm excited about because, for one, it's going to give these machines a major boost GPU-wise, but also number 2, it can lead to gaming becoming more of a serious thing on macOS. It's mainly why I do think Mac Rumors is going to be right about there being a gaming focus at the event and a possible tie-in with a game developer. Now let's move on to the second and final machine we can expect, which is the iMac. So this poor thing was last updated in April of 2021, That's around 900 days ago, so it's about time this thing gets some sort of update. Now, since we did get a new design with the M1 update, Gurman points out the obvious and says this new model is going to have a near identical design, and that makes sense considering the last design stuck around for over a decade, so expect the current design to stay around for the foreseeable future, guys. The iMac just doesn't get redesigns very often. Anyways, there are interestingly two models Gurman mentions. One has the codename J433 and the other has the codename J434. Now this could be interpreted in two ways. The boring answer would be that one is the binned M3 with one fan, and the other is a higher end SKU with two fans. We saw Apple do this with the M1 iMac, and so I would not be surprised if they continue that for M3. However, there is a much more exciting possibility here, which is M3 Pro coming to this iMac. Now, I know there's going to be people pointing out in the comments that this machine is the equivalent of a MacBook and should not get a Pro chipset, but considering the iMac Pro's not releasing anytime soon, I'm sure there is a sizable demographic looking for an all-in-one with a bit more grunt inside, and so for now offering the M3 Pro in the 24-inch iMac doesn't seem like a bad idea, guys. They could likely rework the internals and accommodate the M3 Pro in this design, and also the 21.5-inch iMac before it did come with upgrades for pro workflows, so clearly Apple's done similar things in the past. Anyways, Gurman does say there will be internal design changes, which again could point towards M3 Pro coming to this, and also changes to the stand. I'm guessing this will be addressing the wonky stand issues some M1 iMacs had, and so I'm glad there's some refinements here with the design. Now, Gurman does tell us internally the machine has been tested in the same colors as the current model, but there is a chance Apple changes up the colors for the final product, and heck yeah, they will. You do not need a source to work out Apple likely wants this new model to stand out, and when the design is going to be very similar, colors are the only way to differentiate it. Anyways, moving to the internals, while M3 Pro could be a possibility, we know for sure we're getting the base M3 in this, and Apple's been testing a version that has a similar structure to M2, so that's 4 performance and 4 efficiency cores, and also 10 GPU cores. Yes, on paper that's not very exciting, but even with a similar structure, the cores themselves should be much more powerful because they're 3nm, and this should also include hardware ray tracing. Apple's also taking this opportunity to get rid of Lightning for good, and they're giving us USB-C versions of the Magic Mouse, trackpad, and keyboards. Also, fun fact, this year is the 25th anniversary of the iMac, so I guess that's why Apple's giving us a cutting-edge M3 in this, instead of M2 as rumored earlier. But it would be nice if Apple surprised us with the iMac Pro to commemorate 25 years, however no leak has suggested this, so the chances are very, very low of this happening. And finally, as a last-minute surprise, MacRumors has found evidence of an iPad mini 7 in a Chinese regulatory database for batteries. Basically, 2 Apple suppliers resubmitted filings for a 14-inch MacBook Pro, a 16-inch, a Magic Keyboard, and the iPad mini. And usually when suppliers do this, that means the new products could be launching soon. Last month, MacRumors found evidence of the new Apple Watch Series 9, and yes, we got that at the September event, so maybe there is a chance we get the iPad mini 7. Now, MacRumors does say the battery capacities for these new filings are exactly the same as the previous models, so these are not getting bigger batteries. However, there is a chance that M3 in the MacBooks could provide better endurance. But anyways, coming back to the iPad mini, it sure would be a nice surprise if we got this. But of course, I do want to emphasize, Mark Gurman, a very credible source, strongly believes we're not getting any new iPads till spring 2024, so in my opinion, the chances of this releasing are pretty low. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.